Oh yeah. I didn't even know that existed for a while. Before we get started, I want to personally apologize to Scott for the bunker on number 3. I feel like I might have played a role in that. I feel like I've been in there more times than not every time I play this year. So, on that note, yeah, what a fantastic job Scott and his guys did this year. It's been a crazy year. But to echo what he said, he really does have a fantastic tenured crew of guys that really work hard and really do a lot of good things around here. So thank you for that, Scott, and thanks to your crew. To echo some of Leon's thoughts and some of his comments, you know, it was a bit of a transitional year and for us, and that there was some trickle-down effect there as well, you know, not just for David or for myself, but for our staff in the golf shop as well. You know, Brogan got a taste of the office, and everybody got a whole stream of new responsibilities, and I think we were very fortunate in having Ryan come over. He's been a tremendous asset to us in the golf shop, operationally speaking, and he's a pretty good guy. I hope he seems to be fitting in around here, and you guys seem to have embraced him, so thank you for that. And one more thing, just on a personal note, in regard to the transitional year, I'd like to say thank you to you guys for your trust and your faith in me. I don't take it lightly, nor does David in his role. You know, we've been here a long time, and you guys have watched us grow up, and you're our family, and this is our home too, and we love it as much as you guys do. So we don't take that lightly, so thank you for that going forward. Thanks to the board as well, but mostly to you guys, because that's what we're here for, and that's who we see every day. So, moving into the golf year, man, I know you're tired of hearing the rain Scott went into it, 100-year rains. What a year to have a go at it. The rainiest season in 100 years. Here's to hoping. I guess we've got 99 years to go until every major tournament is rained out again. So that's good news. We had a crazy year tournament-wise. The Wild Turkey was rained out. The last day of half of that was rained out. You know, for the first time in 28 years, I think it's 28 years, was this the 28 Hickory Stick? 20 to 29, 28 Hickory Stick. First time in 28 years in the tournament history we lost rounds to weather in the Hickory Stick this year. The club championship, the last day was rained out. You know, the Eagle actually had a pretty good run, but it was really hot that week, but they didn't have any rain. And the Fall Classic was, we made it through okay without any rain, but we worked hard path only. There was a lot of troopers putting in 3 days playing their own ball in the cold cart path only conditions. But it was a good tournament, and we made some exciting changes. And you know, going back to, speaking of changes, we tried to do some new things this year, and it was a learning experience for everybody. And again, to kind of echo David and Leon a bit, you know, there was a lot of exciting things that we hope to implement this year, and we did some, and there's some still yet to come that we didn't have a chance as it turned out in regard to all the weather chaos and tournaments and so forth, and all the changes around here. It became a year of stability, much like the Zoysia, operationally speaking, behind the scenes in the golf shop. But I feel like we've made some strides, and I hope you guys do as well. And we look forward to 2020 and taking the next couple steps in making some exciting new changes to try to keep it fresh and keep it fun for you guys. So I thought I'd give a real quick rundown. You know, you can't have a golf report without listing your major champions for the year. So even though I guess technically some of them are asterisk, some would say, but your Wild Turkey champions for 2019 were Barry Wallace and Andy Seabolt. Their second championship. Congratulations, guys. That's an asterisk according to Kelly Burkhart. Your Hickory Stick champions were Derek Dummermuth and Tommy Kennedy. That was their first victory. Club champions for the men, Cam Wiltsey, and for the ladies, Tracy Peterson. That was Tracy's second, I believe. Is that correct? Second? And our Eagle champs, Marilyn Harrison and Deb Lawson, and their guests, Gail Fuchs and Kathy Swain. And then in our Fall Classic, Mike Osborne and Mike Boney were your champions. And if you remember, that wasn't that long ago. We can probably all still remember that. That was a fantastic finish. What a great shootout that was. And I think that was Bone Man's 5th major with his 4th different partner. The guy's an animal. He's just a tournament player. Some more exciting things that went our way this year. I don't know if you guys saw it. We kind of shouted it from a mountaintop for about 3 weeks, but Glen won the Bigly Interclub this year. Special thank you to Barry Wallace, who was our team captain, who put in a tremendous amount of time and effort in managing that and putting together the teams and the lineups, and it was at every match and going around. It actually took quite a bit of time, and for those of you that aren't familiar with what the Bigly Cup is, it's similar to a Kansas City Cup. It's an interclub competition between all the private clubs, or basically the 12 private clubs in Kansas City, the 12 best private clubs. And it was kind of a dream of Bob Bigley's and ours. And when it was coming to fruition, he passed away, and the other clubs decided to name it in his honor. And this was the 2nd year, and we were fortunate to beat Lionsgate, who beat us in the playoffs last year. We beat them at the National a couple weeks ago, so that was a tremendous thing for us this year to win the Bigly Interclub. So hats off to you guys for that. The ladies also won team play this year. They won the net division in team play, which is the more heated division of the two, as I understand it. And that also is a big interclub that you guys know about, that we've played in for years and years. And I think we almost won the gross as well, but we won the net, which is far and away the most popular division. So congratulations to the ladies. In 2020, just to give you a real quick view of some things that we're going to have coming up. Everybody's talking about the new handicap system. It's going to be called the World Handicap System. I'm not going to go too far into that, but be on the lookout. We're kind of working on some housekeeping items, getting our system ready for that. There's some things we need to do in regard to our database and our hardware and so forth to get ready for that as it comes online in January. But be on the lookout. I dove into that pretty hard this week, and I'm going to go at it for the next probably month and educate you guys and get information out there and so forth. And if you have any questions about that, or you want to get a head start on any of the reading materials, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll give you all the information you want. But I'm going to start. That's going to be a big focus on my weekly emails and stuff going forward for the next few weeks. So be looking for that. And then for tournaments in 2020, we're going to kind of flip some things around a little bit. There's been talk of this for a number of years, and I think this is a great time to do it. So we're going to switch the Fall Classic and the Wild Turkey date-wise. So the Fall Classic will now be in May. But Such, you can't call it the Fall Classic if it's in May. I hear you. We're going to go back to its original name of the Invitational. For those of you that have been around here a little bit, you remember its original name was the Invitational when it was created as our second member guest. But it's going to be on May 15th and 16th. And then the Wild Turkey, which I think is far and away our favorite tournament as far as being all family, all members. The men's member is far and away our most popular tournament around here. That one's going to be October 1st, 2nd, 3rd. And the logic behind that is the golf course is never better in October. It's absolutely fantastic. Everybody's had all season to work on their games. The weather's fantastic. That's the most important one for us. This is our club. That's when the golf course is the best. So let's use it for us. So I think it'll be fun to have the Wild Turkey be our season closing event. We can follow with a big party. Some other things to look forward to are the Ladies Club Championship will now be on the weekend with the men's. So we will have a championship weekend. It will be that same Saturday and Sunday, which, if I'm not mistaken, is August 22nd, 23rd next year. But the calendar will be coming. We can get into the details of that. But that's just some of the things that we can look forward to for 2020, some things that are going to change up a little bit, that'll be respectful to the history and heritage of our club, but kind of mix it up a little bit. And I think it'll be good fun to try. So that's really all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me? Any operational questions, anything? As of right now, we have a Hickory Stick Committee. The golf committee put together a Hickory Stick Committee that we're actually going to get to work here pretty shortly. and it's a 5-person committee so that we can, and it's full of people. The committee discussed a bunch of different people to be on the committee, and it's got a pretty wide representation of what I would say, for lack of a better term, is several demographics: newer members, older members, people that have played in it, people that have not played in it, and quite honestly, people that I think have very valued opinions and are widely respected around the club. And so we're gonna hash some things out and see if there's any exciting changes we can make to that, which still respect the history of the event and try to keep it fair and equitable for everybody. Lee?
Mike, I've got a couple questions on just some of the service issues with kids and some of the facilities. I spend a lot of time on the range and I practice a lot, and it just seems like the service has really gone downhill with some of the kids and the way, I'll give you an example. Saturday was a big day here, right? 60 degrees, November. There were 24 guys signed up for the game. And I pulled up at 10 o'clock on Saturday, nobody in the parking lot. I had to walk down, get a cart, come back, go to the range, several guys in the range, get up to the range, there's no balls. So we gotta make a phone call to get balls up there. Every single tee slot all the way down, not a tee in any of them. Go to the practice range or the chipping range, there's 300 balls on the chipping range. It just seems like those are the kinds of things that us as members would like to have better service, better, attention to the details. You mentioned the big league. We went to we played the big league. We played at the national. I went up there for a practice round. It was a Tuesday morning. It was 50 degrees. It was maybe 45 degrees. I showed up in the parking lot. There was a dude with a scouting hat, gloves, waiting for anybody to pull up. He comes, gets my clubs, shows me where to go. I go into the locker room attendant comes over, slips me the grip, welcomes me to the national, asks me if I need anything. We play 9 holes. We come in at the turn. I asked the lady there how quick sandwiches. She says, it doesn't matter, just order whatever you want. If we don't have it, by the time you're ready to go, we'll bring it to you at the tee. We grabbed a couple of beers. I said, do you have any cooler back there? So I put this, she goes, your cart has ice in it. I went down, couldn't believe it, opened up, full of ice. We get done, head to the tee, here comes my sandwich right behind me, shooting to get a tee in the ground before my sandwich. Those are the things that I think a lot of the guys would like to have, and I don't really think it costs any extra money, because we have plenty of kids here to have that kind of service. And I didn't know if that was something in your plans for next year to address. After Saturday, when we got ready to go to the first tee, I went down, grabbed a Gatorade, and I went to put ice in my cooler, and there was a cigarette butt in the cooler. And those are the kinds of things that, our dues are actually $30 more than the national. So it's not a dues thing. It's not that we're not paying enough. And I don't think it's a revenue thing. I think it's just a training issue, with these kids. I've known almost all the kids that work here since they were in kindergarten. I've grown up with them, they grow up with my kids, and these are all good kids, they'll do whatever we're told to do. But I just think that that's something that we really need to focus on next year, of having some better service, having people in the parking lot waiting for you when you show up, having balls. Everybody in the club that works here, and I didn't know Saturday was going to be a big day. But for us to have to call when we're up there to get balls, it just seems like those are some of the details that we need to work on. So I didn't know if that was part of your plan for next year, or if that was part of your, some of the things that you were able to do.
Yeah, no, definitely. And those are fair points. And sorry for your experience on Saturday. And you're right. A 60-degree day, and regardless of the month of year, we should be prepared for. And obviously we weren't for you on Saturday, so I apologize for that. And kind of going back to what I said earlier, this has been a growing experience for a lot of people in our operation this year. Not to say that as an excuse, but it's been an uphill battle in the bag room and somewhat in the golf shop and all around. as far as finding some stability and making sure that everybody's on the same page. And I do have, I had some ideas, and I have some ideas that I hope to implement this year that didn't quite come to fruition in regard to maybe a better, more efficient use of our labor dollars in that regard, and trying to provide the most bang for the buck service-wise in regard to the challenges we face around here in regard to logistics, the fact that the range is so far away, and the bag rooms down here, and the locker rooms upstairs, and it's not a very seamless trail to enjoy your day or make your way through the process of getting here and going to the range and so forth. But those are all things that we can overcome with some creativity, and I've got some good ideas, I think, to address that, and it's my hope and my plan to do exactly that. I think you know me well enough. I think you guys know me well enough that I'm fairly picky. I have a little bit of an attention to detail, and that doesn't go unnoticed. And I'm sorry if that became a thing for you or became the norm rather than the exception. But that's something that we're going to work diligently. Now that everybody's played a few innings, so to speak, we're going to look at playing better. So thank you.
Thank you.
And in that regard, to everybody, my door is always open. You guys always know where to find me. Most of you have my cell phone even, and can text me or email me if you ever have any thoughts or questions or comments or concerns. Please don't hesitate. I'm always available here. So, any other questions?
Such, is there anything you're not getting as far as trying to implement some of those plans you're talking about? As far as like we look at 2020, right? What do you need to do that?
Well, I mean, David was right and he was wrong in some respects. I mean, in regard to labor dollars and so forth, you can provide service as much. I mean, we can do anything you want, and by and large, a lot of it just takes money. We can have 5 or 6 kids here all the time and have a kid or 2 on the range and somebody a couple in the parking lot and somebody. I mean, it's just. But the trick here and the challenge for us and the challenge for my ideas is to figure out a way to get the most bang for our buck. How can we be the most efficient in those 3 or 4 different areas? Because let's face it, this is a golf club, and nothing against F&B, but you guys are coming out here to play golf by and large most of the time. I would say 80% plus of your trips out here are to play golf or to hit balls or something for the golf. So your experience from opening the car door until closing the car door when you leave is important, because that's a reflection of the club and your impression and your guest impression. So it's not something that I take lightly, and it's something that I'm gonna work harder. To your question, Greg, is there anything I don't have? Not necessarily. I mean, we'd all love to have more money, more operating, more. I'd love to be able to just say money's no object, and I can have staff at every station along the way. The task is to figure out a way to do it that makes sense for us and our budget, and without compromising your experience. So that's the challenge. That's the plan anyway.
Do you feel happy with where the 2020 budget laid out to be able to meet some of the goals you had?
I think so. It's always, anytime you're budgeting revenue that's based somewhat in weather. I mean, as we experienced this year, that's a hard thing, but this year, for example, not just myself, but Scott and Joe, if I could take a second to pat our own backs, we've been, I think we've been pretty aggressive in managing the expense side of our budgets. Everyone has, in a down revenue year. Basically, we talk about this at the finance a lot, is we've been pretty good at things we can control and somewhat unfortunate in things that we can't control. So to answer your question, to project revenue numbers based on things that are out of your control is always tough, but we have historical data, and we have best guesses, and we use all those things, and You know, we'd be lying if there wasn't a little bit of fingers crossing going in. You'd always want it to be 55 and sunny all winter and 75 and sunny all summer with no rain, or just rain on Monday nights, right? But that's not always how it goes. But yeah, you know, I don't think it's too far. It's not too far out of line. All right. Thank you guys very much. Everybody have a wonderful holiday.